Hello and welcome to I'm Not Judging, but the podcast where we, three mums of school-age kids, dive into the hilarious, chaotic and sometimes questionable world of modern parenting. I'm Briony May Williams.
I'm Charlie Fuge.
And I'm Vix Wilshire.
We're not experts and we're definitely not perfect.
But we are in the thick of it, just like you.
We're here to say the things you're thinking with absolutely no judgment. Well, maybe just a little bit. Coming up on I'm Not Judging But today.
They have to be aware that people don't always tell exactly the truth and they exaggerate, and just to bear that in mind at the back of your head.
Well, Charlie and I actually have an incident where I lied to her when we were children and it actually affected her quite seriously.
Yes.
Yes,
Very serious.
The breaking the waters, all that kind of stuff was horrendous. Absolutely destroyed the midwife's shoes. Sorry about that. She was like, oh my God, I've never seen so much water. Shouldn't have shoved what was essentially a knitting needle up there.
It was like a crochet hook. Yeah. And then Matt had been so amazing all the way through. And then I think because I kept coming in out of consciousness, I remember just waking up and just seeing him crying. I feel really emotional. And then she was born and you know, she was safe, and that was amazing. Are you ladies? You alright?
Hello.
Hello, darling.
How are you?
So good. So good.
So
How are you?
good. Yeah, good.
So good.
Guys, it's only 43 days until spring.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
I've been
I know.
waiting. Oh,
Yeah, boy.
Have you noticed the first little
Yeah,
things though,
the
like the
daffodils.
snowdrops and the
And it's
daffodils
lighter.
are coming up and
Yeah.
the little buds? Yeah, definitely.
It
Yeah.
was definitely, the last
It
time we
is.
recorded at this time, it was definitely darker than
Yeah.
this.
Yes, it was.
So that makes me happy.
me too.
How have your weeks been, Vix?
I've had a lovely, lovely week, and I've just really enjoyed like January actually, and obviously because it was my birthday, but also just like I really consciously decided that I was just gonna try anywhere I can to do things slowly and live a slower pace.
Nice.
And this weekend was just lush. We were supposed to be going out, me and Matt, on the Saturday night, and I was like, by Wednesday, I was like, I don't think I can do this. So I was just like, I'm going to take away that pressure. And we just like did loads of crafts, played games, got my CD player out, put the vinyl on, and just like cooked loads. It was just really, really nice and relaxed. So I'm hoping the rest of the year is going to be like that. Okay?
Start as you mean to go on.
You know, like when you
Yeah.
get older and you all of a sudden feel like going out for a meal or getting a takeaway and staying on the sofa.
Yeah.
Something changes.
Yeah, there's a
No?
shift.
Like, do I want to dress
Definitely.
up or can I just
Yeah.
eat that pizza and get a takeout and sit on my
Yeah.
sofa in my pajamas?
Oh,
That one.
yes.
That one. Yes, please.
Yeah.
That one.
Definitely.
Option B, please. So what did you do, Charles? Did you sit on the sofa and eat a takeaway?
I went to the rugby.
Oh.
I'm very excited for spring. I'm very excited for the Six Nations coming up.
Yeah, I knew that was happening.
Yeah. I cannot
The Six
wait.
Nations of where? No, I'm
I
joking,
just
do
think
that.
like February's got Pancake Day, it's got the Six
Yeah.
Nations, it's
Valentine's.
Valentine's, exactly. It's England Wales coming up soon as well. And
Yeah, but
my
that
husband's
causes
Welsh.
fights in your house, though,
Yeah.
doesn't it? You love the rugger. And I do think you're such a spring-summer babe, aren't
That's
you,
where I'm
Charles?
at.
That you come to life in the spring and the summer.
I'm feeling so
Yeah,
much happier.
definitely.
Oh my God, I can
Yes.
see it on your face.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we had a very exciting week this week on Escape to the Country because for the second year running, we won Best Daytime Show at the TV Choice Awards. Which is
Well done.
Which is so, I honestly
It's
can't
amazing.
tell you how wonderful this is because the show has been going for 24 years and
I love
last
it.
year
That's mad.
was the first time it's ever won an award. And it was so huge for a show that has been going for so long to get that recognition because the team works so hard to keep it fresh and to keep it going, you know, and people love watching it. But also it's voted for by the public, so it means so much. And it's so lovely, and like to see the team just all so excited and happy. We beat like This Morning and Loose Women.
Yeah,
That's
you did.
amazing.
Yes.
Now, Charles, have you heard any tittle tattle this week? Ear to the ground?
I do. Ear to the ground, and it's about kids lying.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
It's going to be a good one.
Great, I can't wait for that.
And we've got a news story about Louise Thompson and her petition for change in maternity care. Really
Love her.
big and important story.
Yeah,
me too.
Plus a listener's email asking about school run DMCs, and that's deep and meaningful conversations. They always lay it on you when you least expect it, don't they?
Yeah.
Here for that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear her story.
Lots to say. Lots to say.
Lots to say.
But before we get to that, let's start with Overheard in the playground. Each week, we share something we've either overheard or had passed along to us. More often than not, it's surprising and almost always a delicious piece of gossip. So, Charlie, spill it, please. What have you heard?
I'm up. So I overheard in the playground this week. So a friend of mine, she has a daughter, and her daughter and her best mate, the daughter's best mate, were having a little chat. And the best mate told her daughter an outright lie. But she didn't just tell the lie. She really went to town with it. You know, she went into detail and everything. And my friend, the mum, was just, you know, she stayed quiet. She didn't say anything. She didn't want to embarrass anyone or do anything at the time. But then afterwards, with her daughter in the car, she was like, you do know that wasn't true. You know, maybe take things that you say, that your friend says, with a pinch of salt. But what are we thinking about that? Do you think that this is, I mean, it wasn't about anything serious, but are we thinking that this might lead on to some trouble ahead? What do you think?
I would have done what your friend did. I would have done the same thing. Not embarrassed the one who was lying, because that's just, you know, they're still young, they're still learning. But I would want my child to, like you say, be aware.
Yeah.
Like, because I've had it from Nora. She'll say, oh, so-and-so said this. And I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah.
She's like, no, but they've told me that it is. I'm like, darling, that's not true. And she, you know, and because they just believe everything. They're little sponges. So I think it's important for you as a parent to say, look, not everyone tells the truth. Often it's, you know, it's well-meaning and it's not because they're trying to lie to you or be horrible. But, you know, sometimes the truth is exaggerated.
Yes, and like when they're younger, their like imaginations go wild. So I remember when I was younger and I was really into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes,
and I convinced everyone is.
I wasn't
and then
expecting you to say
lad
that,
at
just took a
school.
sip of water. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And then I
you want to be
literally,
April?
like, I got carried away with, I
Yeah.
didn't want to be April, but I got carried away with a lie. I told this poor lad that I'd been down a sewer and seen them. And like, I had like, I had the Ninja Turtle toothpaste and I took it in a little tub and I was like, see, I found the slime down there.
Wow.
Okay.
You went
So
to a lot of effort.
I am telling the truth.
Yeah.
And I went to a lot of effort and then I had to, I can't even remember what happened, but I just remember it carrying on for quite some time. So, you know, things get out of hand sometimes.
Just sounds like you had a very active
but then you grow out of it.
Yeah.
I got a very active imagination. But yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you have to kind of, like you say, they have to be aware that people don't always tell exactly the truth and they exaggerate, and just to bear that in mind at the back of your head.
Well, Charlie and I actually have an incident where I lied to her when we were children, and it actually affected her quite seriously.
Yes.
Yes,
Very serious.
as I for those listening who aren't aware, I was born without any fingers on my left hand. And I used to tell people in school that random things had happened to it. Like I told one little boy that a crocodile had bit my fingers off, right? Just because it made me sound more interesting than, well, I was just born with it. And then when Charlotte and I knew each other, we in junior school, and I think we were in year 1 or year 2.
Yeah.
And Charlie asked me how I lost my fingers, and I said that a teacher had told me to sit on my hands.
Yeah.
And then when I pulled my hands out, my fingers were missing.
Yeah. And I'm such a fiddler in class. I was like, oh my gosh. You know, when the teacher would be like, if you're naughty,
Yeah,
you know?
sit on your hands. So the next time the teacher asked, the next time the teacher said to Charlie, you need to sit on your hands, she was like, I can't do it.
I might lose all my fingers.
So Charlie, I'd like to take this moment, this opportunity to formally apologise for traumatising you as a child.
I mean, this is it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it depends on how, like, what it is the kids are lying about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if it's something that's not very serious and they just have an imagination, you know, they want to be down the sewers with the Ninja
with the toothpaste.
Turtles, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But if they're lying about stuff
so
that's
bad.
important.
Yeah. Have you ever caught your kids out in a lie?
Yeah. Prim will like start saying something and then she'll like, because obviously she's very much like me with the wild imagination. And then she'll like, she did it on the way home from school actually. She said something and she was like, actually that was a lie. I'm like, oh, I thought so. She's like, yeah, no, I just made that one up.
At least she owns it, babe. At least she owns it.
I love that.
She caught herself. She's like, no, I'm lying.
That's really too much effort to upkeep. That one. I'm not letting that one unravel.
Oh, love it. Yeah, I think it's the
Bless her.
importance between, you know, what the lie is, how that lie affects other people, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And educating your own kids to understand that so that they don't fall into any kind of, you know, difficult situations. I think that's the main thing. So I think your friend did the right thing there, Charles.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Pass it on. Well done.
Just to let you know, we're about to talk about our birthing stories, which could be upsetting for some people.
Now it's time for In the News, where we tackle all the headlines shaping modern parenting, from Nepo baby rebellions to being shamed by your kids for saying 6'7" because it was 2025. I said to Nora this morning when she was getting out the car, she said something and I went, yes, queen. She looked at me and just went, no. All right. Okay. Another story hitting the headlines. Made in Chelsea star Louise Thompson says she's lucky to be alive after almost losing her life following the traumatic birth of her son Leo, with the experience leaving her with PTSD. This is awful. Now, she's joined forces with former MP Theo Clark, who also had a traumatic labour, to urge the government to appoint a maternity commissioner aimed at improving care for mothers and their babies. Louise shared videos from her experience on Instagram, dedicating the post to those who didn't survive or lost their babies. Her petition has reached over 100,000 signatures, so will now be discussed in Parliament. I mean, I think this is huge. I think this is so important and something that's not been, should have been dealt with decades ago.
Absolutely.
Maternity care, and so many mistakes could have been avoided. How do you think this will help mothers, fathers, carers, all involved?
Oh, I really, really, really hope that this is just the start of something, of them listening to what is actually needed. Like it's just got very, very scary for people, for women giving birth, and I'm just hoping that this is going to be the start of a big change.
Absolutely.
I know quite a few people that have been recently had babies, and I don't think I've heard a nice story really, which is really sad.
It is really sad. Because are you guys comfortable sharing any sort of, birth stories that may involve something that happened that you think could have been avoided?
I would just say that my children are 18 months apart, and from having my first to having my second, it wasn't a great amount of time. And there was a noticeable difference in the care that I received, I would say. So it
in terms of it improved or got worse?
No, it hadn't improved. And I don't know whether my births were different. So I had a cesarean with my second, and a natural birth with my first. So I don't know whether it's because I had two different births that my experience was different. But I had diastasis recti, which is, and I still suffer now. And that's something that I feel so emotional about. And it's basically where you have split stomach muscles. And I'm sorry to any of the listeners if I get this completely wrong. I am not a doctor. But it's basically, my understanding is that there's a separation of your stomach muscles, which means that they don't knit back together after birth. So where you've got a gap in the midline and then it comes back together after giving birth, but not for everyone. So I had a really big gap, and I was told by a midwife whilst in labour, And she was pregnant also, bearing in mind that she said to me whilst I was in labour, "Oh, this is the worst I've seen. You're going to need surgery to fix that." And I was on my own because Gareth was en route. I was labouring. I was induced with Megan, with my youngest. You know, it's a long story with the birthing, isn't it? But basically, I was on my own when I received that information, and I just remember thinking,
you're so
like,
vulnerable.
My body's like gonna really struggle, and I cried my eyes out, and I was thinking, God, surgery, how does that even work? And you know, I'm literally having a baby. You know, I'm supposed to be really, really super happy, and I'm worried about what that means. And then afterwards, I just got basically given like a massive tubey grip to wear.
Delightful.
I'm not sure what that did. And so on my own, I found physiotherapy that helped. And I also had a personal trainer because I was in that position to have one where I went and saw a personal trainer that helped me get some of my core strength back. But it's something that I now, even my youngest is 11. So now 11 years on, I still have to really, really work at. So I have to do core exercises and my breathing and everything every single day. It's affected my life, even now, years on, like decades later. And it's because otherwise, if I don't keep that in check, my back is in pieces. I get really bad back pain. And I just think, you know, it would be great if there was support around that, you know, because not everyone's going to be able to afford a personal trainer. Not everyone's going to be able to go and seek help in that way. And I don't think surgery is necessarily the only answer there. I mean, I haven't had surgery. You know, I've worked on it with exercise, but
also education.
But to be told that.
Education for the medical staff not to give that kind of information whilst you're in labour. Like, that's something that you need to be told.
So insensitive.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, that's not something you say to someone who's in that situation and on their own.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bomb to drop.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Well, fair play to you for, you know, getting on it and dealing with it and getting it as sorted as you possibly can. Because I know how much you struggled with it and how much you've worked hard to get it back to where you are. What about you, Vix?
Right, strap yourselves
I'm
in.
ready.
So it is, you can't, it's really hard to keep it short because it's so massive, isn't it? But basically, I had 2 very different births. So with Daisy, obviously, it was my first baby. And I think you kind of go into these things. I'm going to trust everything that they say and just go along with whatever they say. I had a birth plan, but when I was told, basically, I was 2 weeks late. And they wanted to induce me because I was 2 weeks late and the baby needed to come out, but that was the only reason. There was nothing going on. So the actual kind of whole process of being induced, I look back now, and just, it was really, really traumatic. Like, they spent ages trying to break my waters, which was really horrendous and really uncomfortable. Then I had the pessary. That didn't work, and then I was hooked up to the drip that induces you. And to cut a very long story short, I was just in so much pain. It's when you have like a chemical-led labour, it's very, very different. I felt like there was no gaps in between the contractions. It was just constant. And I'd gone in thinking, I'll just have some gas and air because I wanted to try and do this as naturally as possible and just I know it sounds silly, but enjoy the experience. And you can't do that when you're being induced. And I wish I'd have known that, because I would have gone and get the epidural in. If I'm having to have this induction, then I shouldn't have been in that much pain. But anyway, it led to, bless Matt, he was with me the whole time, and my mum as well. And every time the midwife left the room, he'd turn it down because I was writhing in pain. And I was they were like, oh, it's fine. We just need to keep this going. It felt so rushed. And I was like, okay. So then in the end, Matt got told off, stop touching the machine. And then it all got really scary really quick, and I could and I was in and out of consciousness. I was absolutely exhausted, and the last thing I really remember was this woman who was, I think, the anaesthetist or something. She was like shouting at me to sign to be able to go into like theatre. Like, it was like, you're either going to have an assisted birth, like the baby's heart rate has gone down, and obviously like we're all absolutely petrified, but I was just like out of it. And I just remember her shouting at me to get me to sign this thing. So I signed it, and then Matt had been so amazing all the way through. And then I think because I kept coming in and out of consciousness, I remember just waking up and just seeing him crying. I feel really emotional. And then she was born, and you know, she was safe, and that was amazing. But then from like, I think you're told, you know, like you're lucky that your baby's safe, and that was what I kept thinking. And then when I got pregnant with Prim, and like 5 years later, I realised how absolutely traumatic that whole thing had been. And then you're just left. You know, you're just left like, here's some toast and tea, you know, and that's it. But then, so second time around, I opted for a home birth, and I was told multiple times that because I think my BMI was like half a point over, no, we need you strapped down in a hospital. And I basically had some really lovely people around me that knew a independent midwife who'd worked for the NHS for years and years and years. And I went and saw her. She was an independent midwife, and she was amazing. And she gave me the confidence to advocate for myself. I'll never forget, the best thing that she said to me was, just remember that what they're saying to you are guidelines, not tram lines. You don't have to stay on the train and just keep going. Like, you can ask questions at any point. You know, you're never going to put your baby in danger, because you obviously just want a healthy baby to be born, but don't feel that you've got to do everything they say. Question it. And I questioned it. They wanted to induce me, and I said no, because I know that you can offer me an alternative and get me scanned and keep an eye on the baby every couple of days, because there was no way I was getting induced again. And luckily I went 2 weeks and a day over with Prim. I had a home birth. I had two most amazing midwives, and listened to my wedding playlist. Thought I was at a party with all the gas and air. I was rocking it. It was amazing. And I was like, an hour later, sat on the sofa with Daisy, having a Domino's. And it was amazing. And that, I'm so lucky and glad that I had that experience. Because it was, I just felt so out of control the first time, and this time, like, I was 10 minutes away from the hospital. There was nothing about me that was, or my pregnancy that was unhealthy. Like, they just had a set of guidelines, and they thought because my BMI was over and I was of a certain age that I needed to be strapped to a bed. And I didn't. It was great.
Babe, that's so
I was on all fours and moved her out.
Yeah.
Literally, Daisy was coming down the stairs. My sister-in-law was looking after her upstairs, and they brought her down at one point because she wanted to be there to see Prim born. But then I was like, at that point, we were just like, oh. And she went, "Why is Mummy mooing?" And I just heard Rachel go, "Right, okay, let's go upstairs and plait your hair again."
Love
But
her.
yeah, so it was just, two very different stories, but like definite trauma from the first time around.
Yeah.
I just think Louise Thompson is doing something so brave and so important. So thank you, Louise.
Do you want to hear my trauma now?
I'd love to hear your trauma. Go for it.
Circle of trust.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I do remember.
To be fair, you guys know the trauma, but I'll give you a little snapshot.
No, go
just because
on.
it's something interesting I found out since as well. That's also, sorry, my hand's coming up a lot in this episode, but like it related to people with limb differences who have had similar problems, which is really interesting. So I was induced with Nora. She was 2 weeks late as well. And once I found out I was induced, I was like, screw it, just give me all the drugs. So I was like, give me an epidural. So they put the epidural in, and it was someone who was a trainee or a junior doctor. and they went too far and they punctured my spinal fluid, which meant that, or my spinal cord, I'm not a doctor, so whatever they did, basically, they went in too far. So it became, rather than an epidural, it became something else. So it meant that I couldn't administer the epidural myself. Every time I needed more, the anaesthetist had to come in and give it to me. So it meant that if the epidural wore off, I would go from nothing to 100.
Oh my God.
And then they'd have to wait for the anaesthetist to come in and give me more drugs.
Right.
So that all went, and same with the inducing, like the breaking the waters, all that kind of stuff was horrendous. Absolutely destroyed the midwife's shoes. Sorry about that. She's like, oh my God, I've never seen so much water. I was like, sorry. Shouldn't have shoved what was essentially a knitting needle up there.
It was like a crochet hook. Yeah. It was horrendous.
I remember Charles' face when I remember like yours and Amy's face when I was telling you about it. You were like,
Terrified.
So then, the labour itself was quite long. I had like one push to get her out. And then it would have been a C-section, got her out, they forcepted her out. And then afterwards, I started noticing that if I sat up or stood up, I would get this like crippling headache. And it was because they punctured the spinal fluid. So basically I was all out of whack, like out of line. Okay, hang on a minute. Jojo's giving us some notes. Injecting an epidural too far, known as a dural puncture or wet tap, means the needle has passed through the epidural space and punctured the dura mater, the membrane covering the spinal cord, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to leak. Yeah, that's what happened. So my spinal fluid, was leaking. So I had a really awful headache every time I sat up. So I had to be led down the whole time. And then they were like, we can fix it by basically they inject a bit of your own blood back into the gap to do it up. But then I had an infection, or Nora had an infection. We both had an infection. So they had to take my blood. Then they lost my blood.
No.
And this is the
and
thing, I was in there for a week. So they took my blood, they lost my blood, they took my blood, they lost it again. I don't know what was going on, but there was something wrong. So they kept losing my blood, so I just had to basically deal with it. So it was okay in the day because Steve was there with me, so he could help with Nora. But at night, obviously, I couldn't get up. Yeah. Because if I got up, I'd have this crippling headache, and it would be, it would be dangerous for me to be walking around with Nora.
Oh God.
So then eventually they cleared me to get the blood tap thing put in, which they did. But since then, I definitely, when I'm stood up or sat up, there's still this kind of like aura almost around kind of my head, whereas when I'm led down, I don't have that. So like it's just one of those things. It was pretty traumatic and pretty horrendous. Yeah. I mean, we laughed the whole time. Like we always, we would always find the joy and the funny side of it because that's just who we are. And the midwives, so many of them were incredible and really were amazing, and were very generous. But yeah, it was horrible, and I think it's one of those things it could have been avoided. But since then, I found out that this has happened a lot to people who have limb differences, upper limb differences. So that something goes wrong with the epidural. So it's whether it's connected to how our spines are, there's some kind of connection with how you are in the womb or whatever. Basically, there's investigations. We're trying to push for investigations on whether there needs to be a slightly different approach to people with limb differences. But I just think, which I think is fascinating, that it could be connected to that.
Fascinating.
But again, it's that lack of education. But that's something that a maternity commissioner
would absolutely need to know.
It would be their job to deal with.
Absolutely. And then they can change the protocol for people with limb difference.
And they wouldn't have to go through it. So I mean, there's the thing is so many. Like you say, I don't know one person who goes, "Oh yeah, I had a great birth,"
and it's just been lovely. Yeah, exactly.
They just popped out.
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen. Yeah,
I don't know. If you speak to my mother, she says that
my
she
mum
nearly
too.
had me on the stairs. 20 minutes later, out I popped. Easy peasy, she said.
Yeah,
nice. Easy peasy.
I know.
She was like, "It'll probably be the same for you." No.
But I don't know, was it so different back then that it was just more midwife led and it was more, you know, kind of relaxed? I mean, but at the same time, a lot of babies died in the 60s and 70s, you know, because they didn't know as much as they do. But it just feels like it got better and now it's getting worse and something needs to be done about it.
Well, there's such a huge lag in research and monitoring of female healthcare. That, you know, it's so behind. So, you know, getting someone like a maternity commissioner would be such a huge step forward, and someone who can advocate for women, advocate for people's birth stories, and advocate for these women who have been through, like Louise has, you know, like getting PTSD from labour, that just shouldn't be a thing.
No. And she went in, when you read about her story, she went in and asked for a C-section because she was like, I don't know,
she's 5 foot.
Like 5'2" or something.
Wow.
And he's like 6'7". And she was like, she knew, she could feel in her body. And yet we are constantly told, don't believe your body, just believe what we're telling you.
Yeah.
And actually, what needs to happen is they need to start listening to women.
Yeah.
And actually take on board what we're saying, you know, instead of just thinking that we're hysterical.
Yeah.
We're just like trying to make things difficult. We're trying to avoid things, actually.
Yeah, nobody wants
like
to go through that.
No.
But all these men who are making the decisions, I don't think they've ever given birth to a child. So
I don't think they have.
you know, like
I'd like to see that.
Honestly. Well, yeah, fair play, Louise. Thank you for what you're doing. If you ever need any help from us, please just reach out. We'll gladly.
Yeah, definitely. We've all signed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, now it's time for Between You and Me, where listeners share their parenting dilemmas and we chip in with our unqualified advice, but good intentions, right, girls?
Absolutely.
First off, we've got a voice note from Jenna in Middlesex.
Hi, I was wondering if you could help. I've got 2 little girls and my oldest is afraid of spiders, like terrified. And my husband said it would never have happened if she hadn't have seen me be afraid. So I was just wondering how you stop your kids carrying on your own fears. Any advice you can give is always appreciated. Thanks.
Oh, Jenna. Jenna,
you little sweetheart.
We all feel you. I'm going to throw to Charl on this one because Charl is terrified of
Jenna,
spiders.
you and me.
Terrified.
Jenna, you and me, and I am you. Okay? Literally hate them. I'm never going to get over it. It is just what it is. I've tried really hard to not be afraid, and I am. But actually, I don't think that my children, I mean, my eldest is scared, and I think that she would be anyway. But I remember when they were little, trying really hard to not show my fear. And I remember there was this spider. We were in the pub, and like, it's going to sound really bad because we were in the pub with the kids, but it had a slide. It was fine. Anyway, so the kids were there. It had a soft play. And they were going down the slide, all of that. And there was a spider in my bag. And I was like, and I just tried really hard not to react. And a friend that I was sat next to, I said, look, there's a spider in my bag. Can you just get rid of it? Because I just don't want to show my fear. But then, you know, as I got older, I can't hide it. If there's a massive spider and I am genuinely shocked, I'm like, ah! And I just hate them.
Yeah.
But my youngest isn't as afraid. She's like, Mum, I'll get it. And I'm like, great. So I don't think that you're going to make it worse. If anything, one of your kids might be like, I want to save money and be the spider catcher.
I think you're right. I don't think she's going to pass it on. I think like you try. It's not like you were hysterical, was it, when you saw the spider in the bag? You tried to contain yourself because you were like, I don't want to traumatise the children at the pub with the slide. So we're going to we're going to be calm about this. Otherwise, we'll have to leave. So I think that's something in there, isn't it? Like you can't help how you feel. You can't hide every fear from your child that you have, but you can handle it in a kind of a calmer way. But it's okay to be scared of spiders. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's 2 sides to this. I think it's I get it. Like I do think we do pass our fears on to our kids. But again, it can. But again, if sometimes children need to know that it's okay to be scared of certain things.
Yeah.
You know, like it happens. You do have your fears. Like, I'm really scared of moths.
Oh, don't.
I hate them.
can't bear
They make
them.
me, I can't even go in the butterfly
But
house.
you get the spiders and I get the moths.
Yeah, together we tag team it.
Yeah.
Same as Steve-O. Steve is terrified of spiders and like so scared. And so I'm the person who gets the spiders in our house and he will deal with moths. By the way, there has been no moths since we've moved into this house 5 years ago, and a hell of a lot of spiders.
Amazing.
But I have to be big. Really have to put my big girl pants on because I don't like spiders. I don't want to catch the giant spider in the glass with the, you know, I don't want to do it, but I do it. I really have to like be like, go on, be brave, and do it to show Nora, you know, that at least one of her parents can handle it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, look, Jenna, I would say if you're scared, you're scared. Obviously, you're going to try and be brave. Like we've all said, we've all tried to do that. But if you're actually really scared, I think it's okay if your kids see that. It's just a human reaction.
Yes.
So, Team Jenna. Go on, Jenna, you've got this.
Team Jenna.
Yes.
So we've also had an email from Olivia in County Durham. I went to uni in Durham. Happy memories. It reads, "Hi there, ladies. I wanted to share this with you as it keeps happening. I have twin 9-year-old girls and our walk to school is around 7 minutes long. But recently it has felt about 7 hours long. The DMCs my girls keep opening up are becoming incredibly testing." So DMCs are deep, meaningful conversations. It started with death. When do we die? How old will I be when I die? Will I miss people? And then this week it's taken a turn into American politics and questions that I can't really answer and I'm finding tricky to navigate. I do ask where these questions are coming from, and often it's the playground or news round that they watch in school, but eek. It's a lot at 8:45. Any help would be gratefully received. Oh, Olivia.
It's such a lot at 8:45,
it's a lot in the morning,
isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, all I would say on that is that my two would always do it before bed. So at least, because, you know, they would prolong the bedtime and then start getting into the deep and meaningfuls at bedtime.
Because they've got more time in their head at bedtime to go, now what do I really need to think about?
Yeah. Let's talk about all of our life decisions at 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So at least at 8:45, you know, there is a window and then they're off to school. But maybe my advice would be is to say, let's find a time where we can have this conversation. If it's really serious and you really want to talk this through, let's have a good chat, love. Let's have a chat about this and set a time to have that talk.
Just not 8:45 in the morning.
Yeah, I think that's such a nice way. I think that's a lovely way of doing it.
I fully would give that advice as well. I think that's great.
Because you want to keep them talking, don't you? You don't want them not to tell you the things that are on their mind. But they've also, part of being a good parent that listens is also to help them regulate and not to overthink the things that are not healthy. You know, when they get in that loop, or when I get in that loop, like, you know, you just like that, like, you know, you're just overthinking the bad thought over and over again. And that especially happens at the night time. I had it this morning with Prim literally put her shoes on, looked at me and Matt and went, "Have scientists found out what life is yet?" And she went, and Matt just went, "I don't think they have in the way that you're thinking, but what do you think?" And she went, "Well, I just think we're all in a simulation or a really long film." And I was like, yeah.
Oh, I love
I was
her.
like, I used to think I was in the Truman Show. Like, I thought I was being watched when I was younger. I swear to God, I was like, I'm definitely in the Truman Show. People
I
watching
love
me.
what Matt did there. So he basically said, what do you think? And
I think
sometimes
that's,
they just want to say
think?
what they're thinking, don't they? They don't
Yes,
necessarily
exactly.
need you
I
to
think
solve
that's
all
it.
No.
You know, or answer it all.
No, that's a good bit of advice as well. They're often not looking for the answer, are they? They just want to get it out.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, just maybe, just think that it's only going to be 5 minutes until, you know, you're free of them for the day. And don't worry about it.
I think I like the advice of like postponing it to another time, because you're giving it value and saying, look, you know, I'm not trying to shut you down. I do want to talk about this, but I don't think now's the time. And I have done that a lot with Nora with conversations, because she often goes into really deep conversations. I'm like, now isn't the time, but I do want to talk to you about this. So let's say, you know, we'll do it at this point or at this point. And I think as well, if you can, I've seen this amazing thing online of this mum who invents these really fun, easy games to play with her kids to keep them kind of active-minded. So basically, you know, maybe try and play silly games with them on the walk. It doesn't have to be anything. It could be I Spy. It could be, you know, the number plate game.
Name 3 things.
You know, name 3 things, yeah. Or this thing that this mum does, which I love. She does different scenarios, but she basically does it so that everyone has to say just one word. So she's like, right, let's write a complaint letter, but we only get 1 word each. So she'll start, dear, and then the daughter goes, Barbara, I think that, and they do that, and basically they go back and forth, and they have this really funny conversation about, you know, via this 1 word each. You know, little games like that could maybe distract them for 7 minutes. You know, could keep them going for that, and maybe that might distract them enough to get you through the gates.
That's great.
If you want to get some ideas from this lovely lady Mia, she's at Playful Heart Parenting. So go check her out. We hope that helps, Olivia. You've got this. If there's a parenting drama or dilemma you want our unqualified wisdom on, then send us a DM or voice note on Instagram. You'll find us at I'm Not Judging But Pod. And don't forget, you can watch us on YouTube and Spotify. Thanks so much, lovely ladies. I'll see you next week. Love you loads.
Oh, love you guys.
Bye.
Mwah.